Everyone knows what it is that they want to be in life. Maybe that's why they give up on it early. That's from The Alchemist. Welcome to Aligned and Flowing. So, I've been thinking about the spark that we all seem to have as children. But somewhere down the line, something happens. Most of us sacrifice our dreams for stability and sensibility. So, this episode may sound a bit like a book club because I'm rereading The Alchemist, and I've actually got a few copies for some close friends as well. And I think this is one of my all-time favorite books because it packs quite a punch in under 200 pages. And I will be reading quite a few extracts from this book. Everyone, when they're young, know what their destiny is. At that point in their lives, everything is clear and everything is possible. They are not afraid to dream and to yearn for everything that they would like to see happen to them in their lives. But as time passes, a mysterious force begins to convince them that it will be impossible for them to realize their destiny. The book goes on to give an example of a baker. When he was a child, that man wanted to travel too, but he decided first to buy his bakery and put some money aside. When he's an old man, he's going to spend a month in Africa. He never realized that people are capable at any time of doing what they dream of. He should have decided to become a shepherd, the boy said. Well, he thought about that, the old man said. But bakers are more important people than shepherds. Bakers have homes while shepherds sleep out in the open. Parents would rather see their children marry bakers than shepherds. In the long run, what people think about shepherds and bakers becomes more important for them than their own destinies. Think about it. So many of us choose our careers before we even truly know ourselves. We go on to become doctors, lawyers, bankers, engineers, when our true passion may be music, dance, gardening, art, and something completely different. Then we end up being caught in a rut, always wondering why we don't feel fulfilled. And we just end up waiting for that night out or that Netflix binge with some comfort food. This is by no means trashing conventional careers. I know some doctors and lawyers who do have their spark. And that's because they truly love what they do and don't see it as a chore. And that's what makes them exceptional at what they do. There are so many people out there who want to travel, but never book that ticket. Some say they will prioritize their health, but never have the time for the gym. So many of us seem to have many excuses to avoid living the life we truly want to live. I have seen some 70-year-olds with more spark than 25-year-olds. So what's their secret? And I think it's much to do with how you feel about life. When I was younger, I thought that the spark could only be found in career, new adventures, partners. And now I feel like the spark can be found in the smaller moments in life. Maybe it's appreciating a clear blue sky or a sunset or that hot cup of tea on a rainy day. The spark changes as we grow older. When you're starting off in a career, you may find the spark in your career. When you start off in a relationship, it might be in that. It might be in your children. It might be in travel and new adventures. But I think it's important to honor that where we find our spark changes as we grow older. I see this with some of my friends, ambitious women who are now embracing the transition into motherhood. And they are finding their spark in that by truly leaning into that. It's also important to know that there can be periods in your life where you just can't seem to find the spark. And this is something that I've experienced. And that usually means it's time for a pivot. And you need to sit with what's holding you back from that pivot. And that could mean sitting with your limiting beliefs and knowing what they are so that you can level up. But eventually, the cloud clears and you must get back up. I think that we are living in a world where there is so much going on, be it wars, economic and political crises, or some kind of disaster happening all the time. And maybe your contribution to the world can be being a positive human that uplifts others. Maybe you can actually find your spark and follow your dreams. And I want to read another chapter, a paragraph from The Alchemist. Everyone on earth has a treasure that awaits him. His heart said. We people's hearts seldom say much about those treasures because people no longer want to go in search of them. We speak of them only to children. Later, we simply let life proceed in its own direction, towards its own fate. But, unfortunately, very few follow the path laid out for them, the path to their destinies and to happiness. Most people see the world as a threatening place, and because they do, the world turns out indeed to be a threatening place. So we, their hearts, speak more and more softly. We never stop speaking out. But we begin to hope that our words won't be heard. We don't want people to suffer because they don't follow their hearts. Why don't people's hearts tell them to continue to follow their dreams? The boy asked the alchemist. Because that's what makes a heart suffer most, and hearts don't like to suffer. From then on, the boy understood his heart. He asked it, please, never to stop speaking to him. He asked that when he wandered far from his dreams, his heart press him and sound the alarm. The boy swore that every time he heard the alarm, he would heed its message. And I wish that every one of you watching will do the same. For me, following my spark means constantly breaking out of my comfort zone and challenging myself, opening myself up for new ideas, new experiences, new people, and new adventures, but also appreciating those small moments in life with gratitude for all that I do have in my life and my journey. I think our time on earth is limited, and while we are here, it's important to live a life that we have truly loved. And that to me is finding your spark and making sure that the world doesn't dull your spark. Until next time.